Hello, it's not morning, but this is still my morning view. I'm Mona, and today, Fall Edition 2025, it is Thirsty Thinking Thursday. Thirsty Thinking Thursday. So, on Thirsty Thinking Thursday, we are doing pseudo-quasi notes instead of impromptu. And it may still be morning in New Zealand. So we're going to go with that. Because there may be some New Zealand peeps watching. All right. Don't forget that possibly tonight or tomorrow, this version will be uploaded to YouTube. But in the meantime, go over to YouTube, Mona E. Harrison, different than my Facebook profile, and hit subscribe right there. Hit subscribe, and then you can come back and watch the video on fast speed. All right. So, we have been doing a series on the Hebrew words for worship. And there's multiple. There's at least 7. I've seen 9. There might be more. This seems to be something that's growing. All right. So today, the word that I'm going to be covering, because we have done Todah, we have done Yoda, we have done Shema, I think. Shabak. We have done Shabak. All right, so those are the words we have done. So you can go over to YouTube and you can watch those. Because Facebook is erasing anything over 30 days. And we will not be done with these series in 30 days. So the beginning ones will be deleted off of Facebook, but they will still be on YouTube. So there's that. All right. So we are doing the word Barak. Now it literally means to kneel down. But what I have been finding is, even though this is a word for praise, because, it's about kneeling down and giving adoration and submission, a form of submission. So it's submissive adoration. That's the literal meaning for it. However, I have found that a lot of the verses that are transcribed in the Old Testament, 330 of them, by the way, that many of those words are the word blessed, and not praise. It means blessed. But it is still a form of worship because it's kneeling down and giving submissive adoration to the Lord. And the other thing that I have discovered is that when it's blessed, it's usually the Lord blessing us and not the other way around. Isn't that interesting? That the Lord blessed us, Barak. So, I have a lot of chicken scratch that I can't read. But there's places like when David said to the assembly, "Now bless the Lord, your God." And all the assembly blessed the Lord. And when he said the first bless, it was Barak. In Psalms 34:1, it talks about, "I will bless the Lord at all times." Now, it's kind of hard to bless the Lord in a physical position of kneeling all the time, because you're not always going to be kneeling. But that humble adoration, that submissive adoration, you can still be in submissive, I can't say it. Submissive. That's it. Submissive adoration to the Lord without actually doing the physical kneeling. Okay. So multiple times there's, like I said, 330 times it's said in the Old Testament alone. And so, it talked about kneeling in submissive adoration like a camel would kneel. And made me think of some place where it talks about kneeling camels. Oh, it's a story. It's a story of a possibility about it is easier for a rich man to it is easier for a camel to get to the eye of a needle than it is for a rich man to get, So that camel through the eye of the needle has multiple stories attached to that. And one of those is this place where they have to go through this area that the camel has to go on its knees to get through. I don't know if that's that space, because there's other spaces where it talks about a specific gate that they have to go through, that merchants have to go through, and then they have to pay a tax on whatever stuff they have, and it's just a pain to do. You know what? Taxes are a pain. So what happens is it's easier for that camel to get through this gate than it is, for a rich man. So there's multiple times that it says that. And I'm sitting there going, I wonder if it's referring to humble, submissive adoration. Rich people tend to be a little proud. And maybe that's why that story came out. Because I don't know exactly what that eye of the needle is. Some people say that it's actually like a weaver's needle, and of course you're not going to get a camel through there. It's not going to happen. But those other couple of stories, they're plausible, right? Plausible. Okay. Now, a lot of times those were spoken as if they were fact. I am not speaking to you as if those stories are fact, because I don't know the answer to that. Okay. One of the places where it talks about it is the Lord bless you and keep you. It's the blessing in number 6. The Lord blesses his people with that word, Barak. Barak. In Genesis 1:22, the Lord blessed and said to be fruitful and multiply. He didn't bless humans first. What? He actually blessed the birds of the air and the fish of the sea, the creatures of the sea. And he blessed them with the word Barak. God blessed the creatures of the air and the sea before he blessed humans. Why? Because he hadn't made humans yet. And then when he made humans in his image, he blessed them as well. And he used part of that word, Barak, but there was another little word before that. Like, Barak. There's multiple prefixes to the word in different spaces in the Bible. So, it is like a salute or thanks. Or a greeting, or slow gratitude. Trying to think of why I wrote that, slow gratitude. After I wrote the word salute. I know that in the military, when we are saying goodbye to a fellow soldier, a fellow military person, when they have gone to their last duty station, we do a very slow, purposeful salute. it could be a form of adoration. In Genesis 12, 2-3, God talks about, I will make you a great nation and I will bless you. Barak. Again, God blessing humans versus humans blessing God in this space. Now, there are spaces like when David was talking about, now bless the Lord. That was Barak. And in Barak, the people blessed the Lord in humble, submissive adoration. Now, what kept me from doing this until this evening is, well, I had a whole lot of things I had planned today, and none of them happened because things happen that were not in the plan. I found out that Barak can also be used in the word curse. So it's the opposite of blessed. It's curse. And I'm like, well, I got to figure out what this is. Because if it's written in the Bible, why is it a curse as well as a blessing? And what I got was Job. In Job, chapter 2, verse 9, Job's wife was getting to this point, well, because, of course, and we all still think of it today, that riches and honors and blessing come from people that are good. And curses, they're from people that are bad, that are not doing the right thing. And she's like, Job, are you still holding on to your integrity? Curse God and die. And they're saying that it's a possibility that they used the word Barak there because they did not want the word curse and God in the same sentence, next to each other. They didn't want it next to each other. And because of that, they used that word, blessed, bless God and die, versus curse God and die. But they meant it as a curse, because that's how it was translated. Was it meant to be a curse? Or was it that she wanted him to get in submissive adoration before God to plead for his death? I don't know all the answers. If you've got some answers, you can post them, because I like when people comment. All right. So, the Beatitudes had the word blessed translated there. And it was in the same area where it was talking about Barak. So I don't know for sure, because they didn't have Barak in parentheses there, saying that that was the word that was translated, because you have to remember the New Testament was written in Greek. The Old Testament is written in Hebrew, and we're talking about Hebrew words. So it may have had the same meaning. The connotation may be exactly the same, but it was written in Greek. So it wasn't the word, quote, Barak. But because it was written under the subheading of Barak, that I think that's what it was. Again, I'm not saying as that's fact. I'm saying it's a curiosity in my head. It's something I'm thinking about. That's what Thirsty Thinking Thursday is about. It's getting you to think. Think about stuff. Think about what is it that's being said. And in Malachi, when it talks about opening up the heavens and blessing you, again, God blessing man versus man blessing God. It seems that God loves to bless people. And it would be amiss if we did not bless the Lord as well in our worship. So the worship, Hebrew word worship for today is Barak. And Barak means literally to kneel down. And so when we used to hear these stories about the old ladies that used to wear their carpets down with their knees, kneeling before their bed to pray multiple times a day, getting in that position of Barak to pray. There's a lot of stories where those prayers were answered. Even long after they had passed, their prayers were still roaming into the heavens. So as we're going through this series, we're talking a lot about all the different types of praise. We talked about Yodah, extended hand. Todah, another extended hand. One is to thank him for what he has given you, and the other is to thank him for the things that he's going to do. It's a trust level. You know that it's happening, and you're thanking him for it, even though it hasn't actually come to fruition yet. And then there was Shabbat, if I can find it. Too many notes. There it is. To shout praise. And Barak, to kneel. Submissive adoration. So you don't have to do the literal, because David said we can do it at all times, and you're not going to be on your knees the rest of your life. That's all I have for you today. Thank you, Kathy, for watching. I hope you go back to YouTube, Mona E. Harrison, and look up the other ones that I've done for Thirsty Thinking Thursday for the Praise series, and go ahead and watch them on fast speed and learn some of the other words we've already done. We still got several more to do. So it's kind of a fun task in this pseudo quasi read my chicken scratch notes for Thirsty Thinking Thursday, a little bit different. And hopefully the rest of my Thirsty Thinking Thursdays will not be in the evening, and it'll be back to my morning view. All right. Blessings, everybody. Have a great day. I will see you tomorrow. Catch you on YouTube. Bye.